Online who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello and welcome to round 19 of the AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania League at the COTA circuit, otherwise known as the United States Grand Prix. My name is Expert and I'll be your commentator for tonight's race. As I said before, we are here in Texas or Austin for the United States Grand Prix around the Circuit of the Americas. This 5.513 kilometer circuit has a total of 20 corners, 12 to the left and 8 to the right. The lap record held around here is a 1 minute 32.029, and that is set by the Mercedes driver of Valtteri Bottas. Now, as you can see on your screens now at the very left hand side, you can see the results from the Mexican Grand Prix from last week's outings. Pete Crichton took away the win ahead of Darren 11 in the Toro Rosso, making his return to the league after, I do believe it was around 5 or 6 races. He unfortunately was missed. Then it was Spilly that came home P3 for Racing Point ahead of Swaggy, who qualified on pole position but unfortunately wasn't able to convert that to a win. And then I contrast for Ferrari came home P5. But now we're going to have a quick look now at your driver's standings. As you can see, it is the tightest battle between F1 Amazing and Pete Crichton, as there is 3 rounds remaining, I do believe. Actually, it might even be 2. So 3 if you include this one. So F1 Amazing is on 337 points, 11 points ahead of Pete Crichton at the moment. Unfortunately, Amazing has had a few bad runs in the the last couple of races. So I do believe he had 2 or 3 DNFs in the last 6 races. So that's brought Pete Crichton in the Mercedes much closer to him, which he's also managed to get closer to F1 Amazing has Pete Crichton, so that championship battle gets a little tighter. Sorry about that. I contrast F1, in the Ferrari is sitting in P3 at the moment ahead of Spilly for Racing Point in 4th. P5 will be Plebs in the Renault ahead of Dubsy IX in the Ferrari in P6. Then we have the Racing Point driver of Crossy F1 who is splitting the Alfa Romeo driver and the Ferrari for P7 and 8. P9 will be J Banks for Mercedes, and rounding out your top 10 will be 40-22 on 53 points. P11 was Stuart McKenzie for Williams. P12 was Sir LJB for McLaren. P13 Extra Evolution for Toro Rosso. Rounding out your top 14 is Aaron L3F4 for Haas, currently sitting on 17 points. On the exact same points as him is the Renault driver of Toddster in P15. P16 is the Gaming Wafer. 17th is the Hairy Tomato. 18th the Rumble. 19th Andre, also known as Dr. Dre 3000, and rounding out your top 20 in the Drivers' Championship standings is El Tonki. And then for your Constructors' standings, as you can see on your screen, it is Mercedes that lead the way currently on 487 points compared to Williams on 381, I do believe that says. And then Ferrari sitting 3rd in the Constructors' table, leading Racing Point, Renault, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Toro Rosso, Red Bull, and rounding out your Constructors' standings, it will be the Haas F1 team. We're going to swap over now to the main screen. I do apologise for my stuffing up my wording now. I'm trying to make sure that the stream was running right. It kept saying it was lagging a bit, but anyway, we do have confirmation here from Spilly, one of the drivers in this league, that it is actually a full wet race, heavy rain is his exact wording. So that could potentially be interesting in this race. But anyway, the qualifying session is dry though. A few of the drivers are out on their first lap now. You see Swaggy He's just passed through the chicane section, or the first sector. Now he's just completed the first sector. I do believe he will be one of the first drivers to have completed his lap. Unfortunately, we just got the news that Swaggy has received a 5 penalty points for an incident at the Japanese Grand Prix, I do believe. Welcome to the stream, everyone, as well. Welcome, Cumbros, Nolan, Spilly, and the Gaming Wafer. Swaggy's struggling at the moment, as you can see on your screen. He seems to be struggling a little bit with inside locking. This left-hander as well, very easy to lock the inside front, as he's done, but he still managed to get to the apex, though. Under the Rolex board, he goes into the final sectors now. Amazing how the first of the drivers to set a lap time goes faster with the 1 minute 32.146. All the drivers, as I said, will be starting on the, or qualifying on the soft tyre if Spilly was correct about that heavy wet race. Now Dr. Dre slips into P2 with a 1 minute 34.3, but now Swaggy, the man we just watched, we're spectating, goes to pole position with a 1 minute 31.933. There's about a tenth, just over a tenth between him and Amazing out at this stage. Spilly's now exiting the pit lane. J Banks is starting a lap, and now P Crichton goes into P2 now with a 1 minute 32.015. Todd is on a lap as well. He's heading through the middle sector, but unfortunately he's lost the rear. And while he was braking, so must have locked the rears a little bit. Has the bias a little bit too far to the back than what the car would like him to have it at. Heading through this long right-hander now. Going to keep it as narrow as possible so you can be straight while braking into that penultimate corner, but now heading into the final corner under the Fanatec board. He goes. Don't want to turn in too early for that corner because you will scrub off your whole speed down the straight, but he comes across the line now, does the Renault driver into P4. He goes with a 1 minute 33.515 on the soft tyre. Now Darren 11 actually goes to pole position for Toro Rosso with a 1 minute 31.7. He goes 2 tenths faster, 2 tenths of a second faster than the Alpha driver of Swaggy. Swaggy is on his end lap as well. He'll be chucking on a new set of tyres. So is F1 Amazing Al. J Banks is on a lap there. He's heading through the final sector. Through the double left-hander he goes, runs a little bit wide and didn't get to that apex. What I think he would have liked to. Now through the long right-hander we were just talking about, runs a little bit wide there when he tried to get the apex, but he kept it nice and tight as we were talking about before. Just so you don't scrub off too much speed or extend the track more than what you need to, but there's a yellow flag in sector 2. Hopefully no one's crashed, but he comes through the final corner now to J Banks, opens the air nice and wide. He goes into P4 for Mercedes, currently a Mercedes 3-4 at this stage, so those Works Mercedes teams doing a very nice job at the moment. Spilly's on a lap as well. He's heading through the first sector of chicanes. Gets through there nicely, does Spilly. Not many errors from the Racing Point driver. Break at the 100 metre board a bit later. This Spilly's locked up the inside front, all the tyres I should say, but he's going to get a nice run down the straight though, because he got on the gas really early. He's going to open the DRS nice and wide now. Down the back straight he goes. He's keeping it as tight as possible to minimise the track distance. Gets it turned in, but does lock the brakes massively there. A lot of these drivers will be pushing to their absolute limit as they will not need these tyres for the race by the sounds of it. Heading to the double left-hander, gets it turned in nicely there to Spilly. Yellow flag in sector 1. Hopefully, I don't think anything's happened, but he's heading through the final sector now. Is the Racing Point driver. Where will he be able to move up to? Currently only 7 drivers have set a lap time at this stage. He's going to come across the line now. Is Spilly. Wes is going to move him into P6 at the moment. The third, the 6th driver so far in these standings. Still waiting on High Contrast F1, who does look like he is on a lap at the moment. Plebs to set a lap as well, who is just finishing a lap, I should say. He's rounding out the final corner now. There's a Renault driver, opens the DRS nice and wide. What time, or where does he go? He goes to P2 actually with a 1 minute 31.913. So he's actually 2 100ths of a second exactly off Swaggy's, faster than Swaggy's time. It's nice up there from the Renault driver. But as I said, we're still waiting for a contrast. Harry Tomato, McKenzie, X Revolution, and Crossy. 2 set a lap time. Majority of them seem to be on a lap at this stage. Harry Tomato still has not come out of the pits, which he is now doing. Riding on board now with eye contrast as he heads through the final sector. Runs it out a little bit wide. Locks the inside front again through the final corner, but he's going to open DRS nice and wide now. Where does eye contrast go into? Only 8 fastest for the Ferrari driver. He won't be too happy with that, as now X Revolution goes into P5 for Toro Rosso. Unfortunately, I think Crossy invalidated his lap there because he did just finish his lap, but I didn't set a official time, so I think he may have unfortunately invalidated his lap time there. Did the Racing Point driver. Still, McKenzie's actually backed out of this. He was in a little bit of traffic, so he could have potentially gotten blocked by another driver. Harry Tomato still on his outlap with 8 minutes remaining in the session. Darren 11 still sits on pole position with a 1 minute 31.734, 0.2 of a second faster than Plebs behind him, and then very marginally behind the Renault driver is Swaggy, leading P. Crichton, X Revolution, and Jay Banks. Then it'll be F1 Amazing Hour sitting MP7, who looks to be starting his second run now. Locks the inside front massively through turn 1. Doesn't get through there nicely. Struggles with rear traction as well on exit. Eye contrast, sorry, Spilly, MP8 for Racing Point, leading eye contrast to MP9, who is on his in lap. P10, or running at the top 10, will be Toddster, who is now on a lap as well. He's about to cross into the second sector. P11 will be Dr. Dre 3000, also known as Andre GGMU. The Harry Tomato MP12 has just come into the pits again, so he still has not set a lap at this stage. Has Harry Tomato. Might only get 1 run in the end. Still McKenzie sitting in P13 at the stage. Unfortunately, I do believe got caught up in a bit of traffic heading into the section that he is now. And Crossy F1, I do believe invalidated his time. Still McKenzie heading through the final sector now. Into the double left-hander he goes. Locks the inside front. Runs a little bit wide. Didn't really clip that curb very nicely, but he's heading through the long right hand. And now Pete Crichton goes to pole position with the 1 minute 31.618. But we're going to ride on board with Stuart McKenzie as he is now finishing his lap. Onto the Fanatec board he goes into the final corner. This is all the entry curve available to him. He's going to come through the final corner now. Opens DRS nice and wide. Where does the Williams driver go up to? He goes into P8 now, but his teammate now goes to pole position with the 1 minute 31.4. That's 0.3 of a second. Actually 0.2, sorry, of a second faster than his rival Pete Crichton in P2 at the moment. So the 2 championship contenders currently sitting P1 and P2 at the moment. We got to remember as well, it is a wet race, I do believe, for the United States Grand Prix. But Darren 11 still sitting in P3 at the moment for Toro Rosso. He's on a lap. Will he be able to improve? He's heading through the penultimate corner now. Runs really wide. Could have potentially costed him a little bit of time. Runs wide again through the final corner, I should say. Runs wide on the exit. But where's this going to move him up to? He goes to P2. He splits the 2 rivals of F1 Amazing Hour and P Crichton. Then he goes into P2 with a 1 minute 31.475, 7 100ths of a second off F1 Amazing Hour's time. Very tight between the top 3 at the moment. 0.2 of a second. Plebs is going to have a little bit of work to do if he wants to get up to or into that top 4. And now Jay Banks, P. Crichton's teammate, has gone into P3 with a 1 minute 31.618. He set an identical time to his teammate of P. Crichton, but he did set it later in the session, so he will go to P3. Which doesn't really make much sense, to be honest. I would probably say if he sets it first, then he should, because P. Crichton set that time first, he should go ahead. But anyway, Jay Banks now and Darren 11 split the 2 rivals. Plebs is starting a lap now. Try and find a driver that is on a flying lap potentially. Majority of drivers are on the in lap to chuck on a new set of soft compound tyres, or they are starting their final run. A few of them are. I do believe that was Plebs that is now starting his final run. He heads into turn 1. Unfortunately, he's locked up the inside front. That's going to cost him. He got pushed wide on exit though, but he's going to have a better run potentially down this straight, as he will be able to get on the gas a little bit earlier. That's definitely going to cost him though, running that little bit wide through turn 1. Very easy to misinterpret the turning in spot for that corner, and I think Plebs may have just invalidated his lap time there, because normally if you put your left-hand tire over the left-hand side of that sausage curb, you normally get invalidated, but he is still pushing on. He locks all the tires again, especially his rear and front left tire there. Normally if you do hit that curb, you do get invalidated, but the game obviously, for some reason, preferences these guys a lot more than me, but he's heading down the back straight now. Is Plebs breaking the 50-meter board, gets it turned in nicely, does lock the inside front again. A lot of the drivers struggling with inside locking. Lost the rear end a little bit there, did Plebs, but he's heading into the double left-hander now. Can be a nice and wide straight line in the rear, but he lost the rear again on the entry to the corner, flooring the gas pedal, trying to keep that traction or revs up to get as much speed down this through that long right hand. But he's heading into the penultimate corner now, gets it turned in nicely, runs it out nice and wide, uses all the track available. But now he's actually coming into the pit, so I don't think he was up on his time, so he will be trying to put on he will put on a fresh set of tyres to do another run. Extra Evolution is on a lap. He's heading through the penultimate corner now. I think he's actually backed out of it as well, because he actually puts it on the wall there. Very lucky to not lose his tyre or front wing. So the majority of drivers will be coming into the pits now, or exiting the pit lane to begin their third or second and final run. Let me know in the live chat your predictions for pole position here this afternoon at the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. So I actually think Spilly is on a lap at the moment. He is. He's 1/10 up on his time at this stage. He might get a little tow from the drivers in front here. He locks the tyres again, but still manages to get to the apex. He might get a very slight tow here from Stuart McKenzie in front of him. I think that's what McKenzie's trying to do, not give him a tow, to be honest. Hopefully they do realise that he is there, because he's not really getting out of the way. McKenzie does get out of the way eventually. There is a driver in front of Spilly. Heading through the final sector now. Does Spilly. He's 2/10 up on his time. There's J Banks getting out of the way of the Racing Point driver. But if he's 2/10 up on his time at this stage, he will probably, by the looks of it, he'll go to P8 only. This is a pretty big gap between Stuart McKenzie and Extra Evolution, of 5/10 of a second. But anyway, he rounds the penultimate corner, and now the final corner does Spilly. Gets it turned in, even though locking up, he's using all the exit curb, opens the RS nice and wide. Where does Spilly go to? As I said, P8. Unfortunately didn't improve enough on his time to get into that top 7. Stuart McKenzie now starting a lap. Spilly has just finished his lap. Jay Banks in P3 is now starting his final lap as well. So P-Cron is on his out lap. He has 30 seconds to get to the line. He'll have plenty of time. F1 Amazing Hour is also on his lap, but he's made a mistake. He's actually run wide. Has F1 Amazing Hour heading through the S section, so he's not going to be able to improve on his time. In the end, will Amazing Hour, so could that potentially cost him? They're making that very slight error. There goes Jay Banks. He's catching up to F1 Amazing Hour now, who just had that little incident heading through the corner that Sebastian Vettel had the suspension failure at the 2019 US Grand Prix. Jay Banks goes down the back straight as well. You can see P-Cron heading through the middle sector now. Well, he's about to start the middle sector. He's 0.001 up on his time at the moment, so he's going to have a little bit of time. He's going to have to find if he wants to go onto pole position for this afternoon's US Grand Prix. Jay Banks is 1/100th of a second up on his time, so that won't be enough to get him into the top 2 at this stage. Let's have a look here. Is Darren 11 up on his time? He's 6/100th of a second up on his time. So he's going to have to find around 8/100ths of a second if he wants to get ahead of F1 Amazing Hour. But J Banks rounds the penultimate corner into the final corner. He goes. What time is J Banks going to be able to set? Will he be able to move up or improve on his time? He opens the air. It's nice and wide. Does he go up? He goes to pole position with a 1 minute 31.400. The exact same time as F1 Amazing Hour, but sets it later, which puts him to pole position. What is Darren 11 going to be able to do? He's heading through the final sector. So middle sector, I should say. Pete Klein is also a bit further ahead of Darren 11 in the lap at the moment. He's heading into the penultimate corner now, does Pete Klein. I don't know what he's up on his time at the moment, but he runs really wide through the penultimate corner, though. That could potentially cost him into the final corner. Gets it turned in very nicely. Does Pete Klein. Will he be able to improve on his time? He does. He goes to pole position with a 1 minute 31.393. That is the gap. The top four separated by less than a tenth of a second. Darren's run really wide on exit. Unfortunately, he was not able to improve on his time. He was 2/10 up, so he actually would have gone to pole position, but I think he invalidated his lap time at the very last corner on exit, so that's unfortunate for Darren. Would have gone to pole position. I do believe that was Extra Evolution that actually went to pole P4 there. He did. He knocked down Darren 11 down to P5. Very, very tight at the moment. Look at that gap between the top five. 8/100ths of a second. In the end, that is mega tight. But P. Klein takes pole position, leading the Mercedes 1.271 of a second between him and his teammate in the end. For the US Grand Prix short qualifying session, F1 Amazing Hour came home P3 for Williams, leading Extra Evolution, who put it in a very nice lap at the end, leading his teammate Darren 11 in P5. P6 will be Plebs, leading Swaggy, Stuart McKenzie, Toddy, Totsa 99, Spilly, Eye Contrast, Dr. Dre, Crossy, Harry Tomato, and that rounds out your grid. Unfortunately, Harry Tomato did not set a lap time in the end, but we're going to let the drivers now head over to the grid for the United States Grand Prix. Let me know in the live chat your top three predictions. It is supposed to be wet as well, if I was told correctly. I've been told by multiple people, but hopefully they're not lying to me. But we'll be back with you in a minute for the United States Grand Prix. As you can see on your screens now, the drivers are heading out for their formation lap for a very, very wet United States Grand Prix. Coda circuit looks absolutely drenched, but the drivers are actually on the intermediate tyre. Will we see some potential different tyre strategies? It looks like everybody is on the inter tyre. But anyway, potentially gaming wafer, potentially. But anyway, gonna read out to you now just a little reminder of the qualifying positions. Pete Crichton took pole position by 7/1000ths of a second between him and his teammate in P2 of J Banks. P3 was F1 Amazing Hour. Unfortunately, he was not able to improve on his time in the final run because he ran a little bit wide heading into the second sector through the corner that Sebastian Vettel unfortunately got a suspension failure but Extra Evolution is going to come home P4 for Toro Rosso, leading his teammate down 11 in P5. 7/1000ths of a second separated our top five, may I point out as well. Then there's a little gap, I do believe it was 2/10 of a second between P. Crichton and Plez. Then it was Swaggy 291 for Alfa Romeo MP7 leading Stuart McKenzie MP8 for Williams. P9 will be Todd San Ranier. Top 10 will be the Racing Point driver of Spilly. Then it will be I Contrast F1 with a pretty disappointing result there from the Ferrari driver. Then it will be MP12 Dr. Dre 3000. P13 will be Crossy F1. Then Harry Tomato MP14. Then Renier top 15 will be El Tonki in the AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania League. Unfortunately, El Tonki did not participate in the qualifying session either, and Harry Tomato did not get a lap in. I do believe he invalidated in all three of his runs. But now the drivers are about to form up on the grid. As I said before, let me know your top 3 predictions for the hashtag AOR US Grand Prix. It's definitely going to be a tight one, considering if the pace shows as it was in the qualifying session, especially considering there was 8 1,000ths of a second between our top 5. That is mega close. Waiting for the light sequence to begin. Green flags have been waved and the light sequence is beginning. As you can see, they have 5 red lights ahead of the drivers now for a wet US Grand Prix. And they are underway. Both Mercedes get a very nice start there. It looks like P-Crane got the better of J Banks, but J Banks obviously does have that inside line. He's going to get to the inside as J Banks. He's going to lead into turn 1, but that's actually Stuart McKenzie going down the inside of a couple of drivers. Do they make contact? He does end up cutting turn 1 to avoid making contact, but it looks like P-Crane has moved up or managed to stay in the lead, but F1 Amazing Out also has moved up into P2, so the two rivals lead the way. As it stands, J Banks has dropped a position down to P3. He goes, but that's actually Swaggy and X Revolution going side by side, heading through the first sector. Stuart McKenzie goes around the outside of X Revolution. They nearly made potential contact there. Does the Racing Point, does the Williams and Toro Rosso driver. But Darren Levin is slotted into P4 at this stage. And now Darren's trying to make a move there on J Banks F1. Doesn't get far enough up. As you can see, he's struggling on traction, but he will have the slipstream here. Will Darren 11. He's trying to slot into J Banks' slipstream. J Banks going right to the edge of the track, pushing Darren 11. They're getting a side by side, heading down the back straight. He's much deep under brakes. Is Darren 11. Does he get the move done? Looks like he does. He gets very nice under brakes there. It was Darren 11. It looks like J Banks will have the switchback maneuver potentially. Slows it down nicely there as Darren 11 takes away that potential switchback maneuver from J Banks. But now J Banks actually has Swaggy down his inside. We're going to run a ball with Stuart McKenzie as he has a pretty nice view of those two battling. Now Swaggy and J Banks are going to go side by side through this long right-hander. As soon as one of those drivers lose the rear end, one of them will be in the wall, but it looks like J Banks is dropping positions left, right and centre at the moment. He's dropped from P2 all the way down to P5. Very shocking start from the Mercedes driver, but a very nice one from the first of the Mercedes drivers. Sorry about that, Luke Aria. I need to fix my mic settings. I think I turned it down. I'll set it down a little bit more for you. I know I do tend to ear rape a lot, but hopefully that fixes it. But P-Crane leads the way as it stands ahead of F1 Amazing Hour. P-Crane starting to pull away. He's got about a 1.7 second lead on his rival with F1 Amazing Hour. Darren sitting at around 1.3 behind. No DRS available to the drivers as it is too wet. Or the conditions are too wet. Swaggy is trying to keep up with that Toro Rosso in P3, leading J Banks in P5, who unfortunately has lost a few positions at the beginning of the race. He's got Stuart McKenzie behind him in the Williams, leading Spilly, who's run really deep into the corner, locks it, both the front tyres heading into that corner. Plez has now dropped a few positions. He's lost 2 positions off the start of the Grand Prix. He started in P6, now down to P8. It's a Renault driver, X Revolution in P9 as well. He's dropped a lot of positions. He was starting in the top 5 as well. I do believe he's qualified P4, so now he's all the way back down to MP9. Tots is actually trying to get down the inside now of I Contrast. They go side by side, heading down the back straight, but now they head into the hairpin. Into the final sector they go. I Contrast, he was much deeper under brakes there than Todd said, but now, as you can see, that's the Racing Point of Crossy trying to get down the inside of Todsa into the double left-hander. It looks like Contrast is going to get the move done on Todsa. Moves himself into P10. We're not too sure, MJ. All I know is that it was going to be a wet beginning to the race. That's all I was told. But now Stuart McKenzie, very early in the Grand Prix, has just gained himself a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. As Pete Ryan did go fastest there as well. F1 Amazing House still sits at MP2 at the moment. Darren Levin trying to chase him down, but it actually looks like he's losing a little bit of time to the driver on the Williams MP2. Swaggy's actually caught up a bit to Darren as well. He's got that gap down to under a second. Spilly now is really close to Stuart McKenzie as well. There's 3/10 of a second between those two. But now Darren 11, very early in the race, also has now got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings of corner cutting. Very slow into that hairpin there was Darren 11, locked both the rears and fronts. Could we see a potential move here from Spilly? Down the back straight they go. Not really close enough at the moment to Stuart McKenzie. Much deep under brakes. Locks the inside, locks both the front tyres again, does Spilly. Now Crossy and Todster are going side by side. They do make contact there to Todster and Crossy. They're now starting the third sector. But I think Toddy made a move on Crossy F1 in the racing point. And I don't think Toddy gave him much room on the exit, but I don't think either of them ended up getting front wing damage. Fortunately, Altonki's still struggling down in P15 at the moment with those intermediate tyres. P-Crunch still going fastest as it stands. He's still sitting around that 1.8 second mark between him and F1 Amazing Out Darren. Sorry, I should say F1 Amazing Out is extending his lead though to Darren 11. Swaggy's still right there. He's going to go down the inside now. Is Swaggy? Does Darren 11 realise that he does? So now Swaggy makes a very late manoeuvre on Darren 11 heading through turn 1, which you are able to do because the track is so wide. So Darren 11 now drops down to P4, allowing Swaggy up into the podium position. Jay Banks is really struggling here in these intermediate conditions, unlike his qualifying performance where he managed to put it on the front row alongside his teammate Pete Crichton. Stuart McKenzie still right there with Jay Banks. Spilly's there as well, so is Plebs. Extra Evolution's a little bit further behind than these four. The Spilly's got a nice run on Stuart McKenzie, but Stuart McKenzie also looks like he's a little bit too far back at the moment to make a move on Jay Banks in front of him. Currently this is the tightest battle on track as it stands, a battle for P5. That battle goes all the way from Jay Banks through to Eye Contrast. There's a little gap from Todster to Crossy F1. Sorry, between Todster and Eye Contrast F1. Crossy's still trying to keep on the rear of that Renault. And now Harry Tomato running a pretty lonely race at the moment. He's got Dr. Dre behind him, who's struggling on those intermediate conditions. El Tonki MP15 at the moment, but now P Crunch still going fastest with the 2-minute 2 gap at this stage. See, that's the gap there between F1 Amazing Al and P-Crun. There you can see P-Crun on your screen, and at the back, just at the left-hand side of your screen, you just saw F1 Amazing Al. So that's around that 2.3 second mark. Swaggy also got around a 2-second mark between him and F1 Amazing Al. Darren 11 as well, trying to catch up to that Alfa Romeo driver in front of him. And Jay Banks has now pulled a little bit of a gap to Stuart McKenzie behind him. Stuart McKenzie now coming under a lot of pressure between him, between Spilly. Plebs and Extra Evolution now are going at it as well, heading into, or they are about to start the third sector. That was just the final corner of the second sector. The Toddster and Crossy are still going out. I think Crossy's actually run way too deep into the corner. So now Toddster has caught up to the back of that train for the battle now of P6. P-Crime still going past us now as the Mercedes driver has just got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting warnings. Currently, the only driver in the top 4 that does have a time penalty is R19 as well. So unfortunately we can't talk much strategy because we don't know what the conditions are doing. Otherwise I'd like to talk a little bit of strategy to see what's happening. I hope they implement that for F1 2020 where you can see what the weather is doing in the spectator mode. Now Jay Banks actually lost a little bit of time to Stuart McKenzie there. On the previous lap he had around 1.5 seconds between him and the Williams, but now Spilly's actually in a little tight battle with Plebs. I think Plebs actually just had a little bit of incident there, so now he's dropped his positions. He's nearly drilled his teammate of Toddster. There's a little scrap here for the battle of P7. Spilly is now into that top battle, but they're nearly going full wide. Spilly lost the rear end massively, heading down, or heading into the back straight. So they're going to go side by side. Toddster's trying to make a move on extra, on high contrast, I should say. Will Toddy make a move? He's very deep under brakes. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. On high contrast, who does cut that corner there. He could have potentially gotten another warning there. Could have contrast. Plebs has now got himself back up into P9, but he lost a massive amount of position and time there in that little tight battle. So that's allowed McKenzie and Jay Banks to get away from that battle. Now Spilly's actually had another mistake there. He's just made through the long right hander. It looks like he lost the rear end. Seems to be struggling a little bit, but he's actually got his teammate on his outside at the moment. All 4 wheels on the curb, and now Crossy just got himself a 5-second time penalty for doing that. So I'm not too sure if he was forced there by his teammate or not, but we'll have to see if that comes to play at the end of the race. Who was that that's actually just put it in the wall? That was R19. The Toro Rosso driver. Whereabouts was that? I'm trying to find his car now. But actually, that was the Toro Rosso of R19 that unfortunately put it in the wall. We briefly just got a look at it there. But he smacked into the wall. Did R19. So that's unfortunate there for the Toro Rosso team. He was looking really good there. Was R19. He was looking like he was going to catch up to F1 Amazing Hour very briefly. But now he's unfortunately in the wall, which is going to cost him precious points, especially considering he needs those. Considering he missed a few races, but Darren's left the session. That's unfortunate for the Toro Rosso driver. Now P-Crun still leads away, and now Swaggy's also now jumped up into P3. Every driver will move up a position due to him retiring from the session. Plebs and Toddster going at it as well. The two Renault drivers are going to go side by side as they now start the third sector. That's the Toddster down the inside. He goes on his teammate of Plebs. He's also got to try and half defend the Toro Rosso behind, but now that swaps to Plebs. He now has the inside line for that double left-hander. Will he push his teammate out wide? He's giving the two Renaults are giving each other a lot of room. But now it looks like Toddster's going to take the lead out of that little battle back. He now moves into P7. Swaggy now goes fast with the 1 minute 48.663. Currently sitting in P3, so he is catching up to F1 Amazing Hour. There's still this little tight battle here at the moment for the battle of P7 between Toddster, Plez, Spilly, Extra Evolution and Crossy. Crossy's now caught back up to the rear of that train. Harry Tomato's still struggling to catch up. Pete Crichton still sitting around that 2-second mark. He's lost a little bit of time now. 2 F1 Amazing out there, only around 2 100ths or 5 100ths of a second. That's little time he's lost at the moment, but now Swaggy is definitely catching up. 2 F1 Amazing out in front of him. J Banks sitting MP4 still. Still having a little scrap at the moment with Stuart McKenzie. MP5. McKenzie taking a much narrower line. And taking that much narrower line just gained himself a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. So now the Williams driver does have a 3-second time penalty to add to his race time at the end of the race. F1 Amazing now goes fast. He's actually just pulled a couple of tenths out of Pete Crichton that lap. Starting to push on a little bit now, trying to catch up to Pete Crichton. The Swaggy's also gaining on F1 Amazing now, so the top 3 are all converging on each other at this stage. Swaggy still sitting in P3 at the moment. By contrast, running a pretty lonely race at the moment. He's trying to catch up to Stuart McKenzie and Jay Banks for that little battle of P4. Potts still in the battle with his teammates Billy, X Revolution and Crossy. Harry Tomatoes nearly at the rear of that train. Crossy locks the inside front, does cut that corner as well, but most likely would have given him a warning as he did have 4 wheels off the circuit. Stuart McKenzie still sitting around that 5/10 mark. Surprisingly, no safety car for Darren Levin's DNF. Jay Banks now, MP4. The man ahead of Stuart McKenzie has now got a 3-second time penalty. So now both these drivers have 3-second time penalties they'll have to owe at the end of the race. But Stuart McKenzie has a pretty nice run at the moment on Jay Banks. Will he dive down the inside heading into turn 1? This is his opportunity. He's going to go down the inside now. Is Stuart McKenzie. Fortunately, it's not switching to the TV cam. And now it looks like Jay Banks managed to hold it around the other side. But now Stuart McKenzie's got the inside line. They get squeezed there, does Stuart McKenzie. They nearly made contact, does the Mercedes and the Williams driver. This little battle back here has now started to spread out a little bit. Amazing, it looked like he was catching Pete for a little bit, but he's now, since he set that fast lap at the Grand Prix, he's been sitting at around that 1.5, 1.6 second mark for the last couple of laps. Swaggy also sitting at around that 1.5 second mark between himself and F1 Amazing out in front of him. So as I said before, the top 3 are all converging on each other. As they now all head through the final corner, and they are now starting lap 11 of 28 around the Circuit of the Americas circuit at the United States Grand Prix. Jay Banks and Stuart McKenzie still in that little battle, but now Eye Contrast is finally caught up to the rear of that train. It looked like he did for a little bit, but unfortunately he got a really bad run out of that first turn. Two Renaults are still going at it with Spilly. Extra Evolution's fallen off that train a little bit. He's got Crossy behind him, who's also fallen off that train a little bit. The Harry Tomato is also catching up to Crossy as well. Dr. Dre running a pretty lonely P13 at the moment, leading El Tonki in P14. So F1 Amazing has got that gap down to 1.4 seconds, but so has Swaggy. So they're all actually evenly catching each other at the moment. Swaggy looks like he's the quickest out of both these drivers at the stage, but F1 Amazing looks like he's a little bit quicker than P. Crichton. Heading through the final sector, these top three go. As they now start lap 12 of 28. Stu McKenzie is now not only does he have Jay Banks in front of him he has to worry about, but he also has Eye Contrast F1 he has to worry about behind him as well when trying to make a move on that Mercedes in front of him. Todster and Plebs are still going at it for the battle of P7. Spilly also right there as well for Racing Point. Plebs looks like he's a little bit quicker than his teammate at the moment, so some potential team orders could come into play here from Cyril. Had a pretty bad run out of that corner, so that's given Spilly now another invitation to go down the inside of Plebs. Nearly makes contact, but now I think Extra Evolution's actually lost a few spots there he had, so he's dropped now behind the Hairy Tomato and Crossy F1. Must have had a little mistake heading down that short straight into the hairpin that they just went through. F1 Amazing has now got that gap down to a second exactly. Swaggy's actually lost a little bit of time now to the front two. You can see that gap is definitely closing down between Amazing and P. Crichton. Swaggy's actually lost around 4/10 of a second between himself and F1 Amazing. Harry Tomato now, Swaggy's teammate, has just got himself a 3-second time penalty down in P11. Now we're going to see our first driver in the pit lane for the Grand Prix. Eye Contrast comes into the pits, but so does Plebs and Crossy F1. Extra Evolution's also in the pit lane. We will see Dr. Dre follow them in. Currently, the first four drivers are now into the pit lane. We have four drivers currently into the pit lane. So P. Crane cannot afford to let Amazing Al finish ahead of him tonight. That's kind of a mix between today and tonight, I just said that, but anyway. If Amazing Hour comes home P2 and P. Crichton manages to win the race, there will be a 4-point difference between the two championship contenders. So obviously we want P. Crichton to win because we want this to come down to the wire at the end of the season. But obviously as well, if P. Crichton can hold on to that fastest lap, that gap will go down to 3 points. I do believe he still has the fastest lap. Actually no, it's actually F1 Amazing Hour now that has the fastest lap, so that the stage will be 5 points between P. Crichton and F1 Amazing Hour. But now Pete comes into the pit lane. Amazing Hour staying out for another lap too, potentially trying to do the undercut Sorry, overcut, I should say. But now Swaggy is trying to do the undercut on the F1 Amazing Hour. Undercut. Looked like a pretty slow stop there from the Mercedes AMG team. Didn't seem too quick. It looks like he sat in the grid or in the pit box for a long time. Swaggy actually had a pretty nice stop there from the Alfa Romeo team. He could potentially come out in front of Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour's going to have to push very hard on his in lap, because I'm assuming he will come in this lap. So that's now El Tonki that Amazing Hour is catching up to. Still McKenzie now, F1 Amazing Hour's teammate. Down in P6 has now got himself a 3-second time penalty against him. I do believe that is up to 6 seconds of time penalties for the Williams driver, but this is definitely going to be the battle to watch between F1 Amazing Hour and P. Crichton. To see where they both end up coming out. This is F1 Amazing Hour heading through the long right-hander now. This is P. Crichton heading into the double left-hander. Which after this corner will be the long left-hander, but F1 Amazing Hour does come into the pit lane now. I actually think P. Crichton will. I do have a feeling he will come out ahead, to be honest. There's a pretty high chance, considering the position that he is in at the moment. He rounds the penultimate corner now, does P. Crichton. Could potentially even lose a spot here to Swaggy. Let's have a look. Amazing Hour is at the very end of the pit lane, we got to remember as well, but it looks like P. Crichton will come out in the lead of the Grand Prix, but it's going to actually be tight between potentially Swaggy and F1 Amazing Hour. F1 Amazing Hour has come out ahead of Swaggy F1, so Swaggy 291. Plebs now goes fastest, down in P8, now P7. There's actually Spilly, I think that, or there's that Harry Tomato that I think spun around. No, he's actually just in the pit lane. I didn't see the pit thing beside his name, but anyway, now he's dropped all the way down to P11. Could be tight between him and Crossy though. Crossy will be on the warmer tyres as they head through turn 1 now to the drivers. Gonna get a quick update here for your standing, as you can see on screen, or who we are riding on board with at the moment. It is our current race leader of P. Crichton that leads away ahead of F1 Amazing Hour, sitting in P2 at the moment. The two championship rivals currently sitting in P1 and 2 at this stage. Swaggy 291 in P3 at the moment, starting to catch up to F1 Amazing Hour. J Banks in P4, 18 seconds between him and Swaggy in front, but Still McKenzie and J Banks are actually still going at this little battle here for the battle of P4. P5 will be Still McKenzie, as I read it before. P6 will be our Contrast F1. P7 Plebs. P8 Toddster, Plebs' teammate. P9 will be Spilly for Racing Point and Renegade. Top 10 will be Extra Evolution, who's had a pretty disappointing start or race so far, as he did start in the top 5 and now unfortunately just managing to hold on to the top 10. Harry Tomato just come off his pit stops and now he's dropped down to P11. He's got Crossy F1 right behind him, really make a move into the double left-handers. Now P. Crichton goes fastest, but then Swaggy also goes fastest right after that. Now it looks like Crossy's a little bit too far behind to make a move on Harry Tomato, but Dr. Dre down in P13 at the moment, leading El Tonki in P14, and that rounds out your finishers, or drivers that are still running in this race, I should say. Unfortunately, Darren Levin has retired from the session as well. As you can see, Amazing Hour's got that gap at around 1.5, just under 1.6 seconds at the stage. Swaggy's just over a second, so he is gaining a little bit more on Amazing Hour than what Amazing Hour is gaining on Pete. J Banks now, he's got another 3-second time penalty
So I do believe both of the drivers now have 9 seconds worth of penalties, and when I say both the drivers, I mean Stuart McKenzie and Jay Banks. This battle is starting to tighten up again between Jay Banks, McKenzie, Eye Contrast, Plebs, and Toddster. They're all starting to bunch back up. They were at the beginning of the race or beginning of the pit stops, but unfortunately after that, or just before the drivers came into the pits, is now F1 Amazing now has a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting, but that was actually still McKenzie now making a move on Jay Banks F1. Finally they head through the double left-hander, but will Eye Contrast F1 be able to catch up? He's got El Tonki's ghost car in the way of him. But as I was saying, F1 Amazing now just got himself a 3-second time penalty as well. So at this stage he will drop behind Swaggy. And if I am correct, I'm pretty sure it's 15 points if you come home P3. And does he still have the fast lap? I think it's actually Plebs that has the fast lap. Now Swaggy actually has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So if I'm correct, there will be 1 point difference between F1 Amazing and Pete Crichton. But if Pete Crichton manages to get that fastest lap in the end, they will be equal on points heading into the Brazilian Grand Prix. As there was 11 points separating the two drivers heading into the United States Grand Prix. Amazing now actually has that gap under 1 second. Swaggy's actually fallen off a little bit here in time. So Amazing is really pushing now, trying to catch up to Pete Crichton because he knows he has to get past Pete Crichton, but then also get ahead or get more than 3 seconds between him and that Mercedes. As they now have 11 laps remaining. When they cross the line, it will be 10. Makes a little error there. Did F1 Amazing out, just turned it in a little bit too early and had to reset the steering in that Williams car. Not sure if it's going to dry out for the end of the race either. So there'd still be a lot of standing water on the track. So Swaggy looks like whenever he does catch up to Amazing, when he gets around to that 1 second mark, seems like he just sits it around that. It seems like Amazing out just gets a little bit quicker just to defend that position, and then he starts to catch up to Pete Crichton. But now, as you can see, he's already lost that time, and Swaggy's gained that all back up. He's now got that gap to 1.3 seconds, and Amazing has got that gap to just over 1 second at this stage. Looks like Plebs is right on the rear of Eye Contrast, but Eye Contrast is also right on the rear of Still McKenzie, and Still McKenzie is right on the rear of Jay Banks. So this battle is still going on. Toddy's still struggling to catch up. Eye Contrast looks like he's trying to set up a move on Stuart McKenzie down the back straight. He will be in the slipstream, and no DRS available to these drivers, but he will be in the slipstream. Down the back straight they go. Will Eye Contrast be able to make a move? Stuart McKenzie defends the inside line, but will he do the switch back? He goes to the outside line though. Does Eye Contrast? He's going to try and brake a lot deeper. It looks like he was, but Stuart McKenzie had the better braking ability and manages to hold on to P5 for the stage. But Eye Contrast actually just dived back down the inside. Very late braking there from Eye Contrast, but now he's going to have to try and hang it around the outside. Heading to the double left hand, he's going to want Stuart McKenzie to run a little bit wide here, but now he doesn't actually. So Eye Contrast is going to settle for P6 at this stage. Plebs trying to keep up with that little battle hack there for the P5 in this Grand Prix. Contrast and Stuart McKenzie are still going at it. So they head into the final sector, penultimate corner now. Stuart McKenzie runs a little bit wide on exit. That will cost them down that short straight, but they are on there into the final corner. They go. And it looks like Stuart McKenzie's going to hold on potentially for another lap. Toddy's now finally caught up to the rear of Plebs. his teammate. Drivers now start on lap 19, I should say. Amazing how it's definitely a lot closer to P Crime than what he has been recently. Swaggy's still sitting at just over that 1 second mark. He's got to get that down if he wants to take full advantage of F1 Amazing Out and Pete fighting. So Pete cannot afford in any way whatsoever for Amazing Out to finish in front of him. But we got to remember as well, F1 Amazing Out does have that time penalty. He does have to serve at the end of the race. Plebs is still really close to eye contrast at the moment, 6/10 of a second. So that's actually crossing now, starting to catch up to Extra Evolution. It's getting spicy, Bailey. So you should have seen the qualifying session. Did you see the qualifying session? It's 8/1000ths of a second between the top 5. They were P. Crichton, F1 Amazing Out, Swaggy, J Banks, and Extra Evolution in that order. 8 laps remain in this Grand Prix. Plebs still right on the rear of that Ferrari, using all the entry curb available. Looks like he got a better run there than Eye Contrast. Eye Contrast had better traction though by the looks of it. Now Crossy has got ahead of Extra Evolution because I think he made a little mistake there, and now he's had to come into the pit lane. Has the Extra Evolution, doesn't look like he has front wing damage, but now he will have front wing damage for making that little error heading into the pit lane, and he just got another 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But now let's have a look here. As you can see, F1 Amazing Out is right on the rear of P Crime, but Swaggy is also right there as well. Didn't get a very nice run off that corner, did Swaggy. That's cost him a lot down the straight. Now, could this be Amazing Out's time to strike? Is he going to dive down the inside on P. Crime, heading down the back straight? Doesn't look like he's going to sit behind him for a little longer. He looks like he's carrying a lot more corner speed than P. Crime. He has a lot more confidence at this stage. How come you're not racing, Bailey? But anyway, P. Crime defends the inside line from F1 Amazing Out. Slows it down at the apex so that he can't get the under and over maneuver done. Swaggy's still struggling to catch up. P. Crime really slowing down here, struggling with rear grip, or just grip in general. There'll be 7 laps remaining in this Grand Prix when they cross the line, but this is currently the battle for the lead of the Grand Prix, and these two are battling for the championship as well. Yellow flag in Sector 2, now that's Extra Evolutions unfortunately left the session. The Swaggy's now caught back up to the rear of F1 Amazing Out. 7 laps remain, as I said before. It's actually a really tight battle here at the moment between Crossy and Spilly. Actually no, it's not, they just had a glitch. It said 0.144. Apologise for that. Plebs and Todd, so the two runners are still going at it. Still the battle at the moment for P5. Still McKenzie leads that train. J Banks has a little bit of a gap in front. So he has a little bit of a gap between him and Stuart McKenzie. Swaggy at the moment still trying to keep up with F1 Amazing Out and P. Crime. So they're both on the exact same ERS at the moment, are the two leaders, but now he's trying to go around the outside here. It's Amazing Out. P. Crime forces him out wide. Amazing Out tried to make a move around the outside. He actually gives P. Crime a little love tap there. He's letting him know that he is still there, but will Swaggy try and dive down the inside? Amazing Out defends. So P. Crime defends the inside line, but Amazing Out Joe's with him there, but now Swaggy looks like he's done the under and over. He did have the better line, but unfortunately he did not get the ideal run out of that corner. It's going to be a tight battle. As I've said multiple times already, the two drivers in P1 and 2 are battling it out for the championship. There's currently 11 points between those two. I'll try my best. Chris? But also I do have to look at the other guys if they are battling. Amazing how it looked like he had a much better run than Pete there, but Pete seems to be struggling on this set of tyres. Didn't seem to be struggling as much on the previous set. Swaggy's also right there, 2 pounds if these two do make contact. Do need to remember as well, Amazing Out does have that 3-second time penalty, but so does Swaggy at this stage. So he's gonna, if he wants to win this race, he's gonna have to get ahead of not only F1 Amazing Out, but also Pete Crichton and finish 3 seconds ahead of Pete Crichton. Won't have to worry about the 3 seconds ahead of F1 Amazing Out because he does also have a 3-second time penalty, does the Williams driver. I said does like 5 times in that one sentence, but anyway. Still McKenzie's now also caught back up to Jay Banks. He's narrowed that gap down as well. Amazing Out is still trying to make a move on Pete Crichton. Down the back straight they went. Heading into sector 3 they go now. Will any of them make a move? I'm sure Pete Crichton will defend the inside line. He does. Swaggy's going to go wide again. Will he be able to get the better traction off the corner? It looks like he's got pretty good traction, but unfortunately Will spun the wheels up massively on exit. So that cost him a little bit, and now he's getting a lot of dirty air from F1 Amazing Out and Pete Crichton. Drivers now start lap 23 of 28. Pete Crichton runs really deep into the corner, but also does F1 Amazing Out. I think Swaggy actually tried to stick his nose down the inside there. Swaggy has 6 seconds. He may do. While they're going through this section, I might just quickly have a look. Why not? Actually, he does have 6 seconds. Good point out there, Gaming Wafer. 6 seconds for Amazing Out, and I don't believe Pete. He's on his last warning now, is Pete. 4 penalties, so Swaggy does have 6 seconds worth of penalties. I do apologise for that, as now Spilly just got himself a 3-second time penalty down. MP9, he's got 0.3 of a second between him and the two Renaults. Now Toddster and Plebs have swapped around as well for the battle of P7. But I'm going to go back to this front group, as this is the main battle on track at this stage. All evenly spread down the back straight they go. F1 Amazing Out is in that tow of the Mercedes driver in front. Very deep into the corner, but I do believe that is Dr. Dre there that is now caught up, or these three are catching up to, so hopefully he gets out of the way. He is a lapped car as well. He defends that inside line again, but now Amazing Out's trying to go around the outside. Will Swaggy have sticked his nose in there? I definitely think he would have, but didn't have the amount of traction that Amazing Out did have. So Pete will be defending this position for all his life at the moment, because he needs, to keep his championship hopes alive, he needs to stay ahead of F1 Amazing Out. There's now a yellow flag in sector 3. I think that's Plebs and Spilly. No, it's actually those two just going side by side at this stage. I think Extra Evolution's unfortunately spun around again, back down to P13, but these two are going at it. Will Plebs defend the inside line? He doesn't actually, but Spilly has to hold on to P9 at this stage. Extra Evolution back in the pit lane. So now stop lap 24, 4 laps remain in this Grand Prix. 4 laps for F1 Amazing Out to make a move on Pete Crichton, but Swaggy also does have to as well. Currently Pete has no time penalties. F1 Amazing Out currently has 3, and Swaggy has 6 seconds worth of penalties at this stage. But now Amazing Out just got another 3-second time penalty, so he's just good now. He is basically equal with Swaggy at this stage. So Swaggy, if he can make a move on F1 Amazing Out, he will finish P2 in this Grand Prix. But Pete really at the moment just has to stay ahead of F1 Amazing Out. I want to have a quick look as well to see who does have the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It is currently Swaggy at this stage. So I think Pete will definitely be wanting to get that fastest lap as well, so he can narrow that gap down even more. It will be 4 points between those two in that case. Does Pete defend the inside line again? He doesn't actually, but he had a little bit more of a gap than what he did on previous laps, so he didn't have to defend as much. It's getting really tight as the drivers are about to start their third last lap otherwise known as lap 25 of 28 in the United States Grand Prix. Let me know your predictions, who you think's going to end up on top out of this little tight battle here for the win of the US Grand Prix. You see P-Crumb pulling over the left, trying to just find where the grip is on the circuit. So unfortunately, I don't think Swaggy, unless he has asked his race engineer, he probably won't know that F1 Amazing does have the exact same time penalties as him. So you may potentially see Swaggy get a little bit more aggressive heading towards the end of this Grand Prix. As they now head through they are now starting sector 2 of the Circuit of the Americas, crossing now down. MP10 has now got himself a 3-second time penalty for the Grand Prix. It's really spicing up here as now Swaggy ran really wide on exit, but now he's actually driving down the inside of F1 Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour left in the room. He ran really wide on the exit of that left-hander previous to that hairpin. Swaggy tried to get down or stick his nose down the inside. Heading onto the straight, but it didn't look like he had the best of traction compared to F1 Amazing Hour, as that took a little bit of pressure off P Crime. See, P won't have to defend here, which is good for him. He can just settle a little bit, try and save some ERS. Currently does have a little bit more ERS at the moment than F1 Amazing Hour, but Swaggy has the most. He's currently sitting on 68. If I was him, I'd probably be chucking that up a little bit higher, in a higher ERS mode at the stage if he wants to get ahead of F1 Amazing Hour. This Swaggy will not take it to sitting down. Two laps remain now. 3 laps remain, I should say. 2 laps after this lap. Getting very tight now. So just to recap as well, Pete Crane currently does not have any time penalties next to his name, but he is on his final warning. He has been given 2 warnings. Swagger now has another 3-second time penalty, so that is not what he wanted, because I was just about to read out or just say that F1 Amazing Hour had 6 seconds worth of penalties, and so did Swaggy, but unfortunately Swaggy just gained himself another 3 seconds. So now he currently has 9 seconds worth of penalties. Now does the Alfa Romeo driver. They're heading down the back straight. Looks like Swaggy is pretty close at the moment to Amazing Hour, but Amazing Hour pulling away down the straight. There's a lot of ERS to use at the moment, does Swaggy, so if I was him, I'd probably turn that up a little bit higher. F1 Amazing Hour dives down the inside. He definitely thought about it, but Pete realised what that Williams driver was trying to do and ended up defending the inside line. Then they're heading to the final sector of lap 26. They will be starting their penultimate lap of the Grand Prix when they cross the start-finish line. Swaggy is still right there. Will we see a move come out from the Racing Point driver? So not Racing Point, the Alfa Romeo driver. He has the most DRS out of both these drivers, or all these 3 drivers at this stage. So if I was him, I'd just be chucking it up massively high. I'll probably be running a medium at this stage. He does have 70% he can use. Stuart McKenzie down MP5. Now has another 3-second time penalty. He's catching up to Jay Banks. Again, this battle is still going on for P4 between the Mercedes and the Williams. Will we see a dive bomb here from Stuart McKenzie? Sits behind him, heading into turn 1. They went, but we're still going to focus on this battle, as I think Swaggy actually had a little mistake he may have made heading through the first sector. So now he's got to try and push to catch back up to F1 Amazing Hour and P Crime. Amazing Hour actually had a really nice run out of that corner, heading onto the back straight. P Crime is now forced to the inside line to defend his position. He's right against the white painted lines, but they're going to go side by side. Heading down the back straight they go. F1 Amazing Hour now actually swoops around the outside of P-Crun, trying to hang it there. He cannot afford to lose his position to F1 Amazing Hour. It looks like Amazing Hour is going to hold on to it, but P-Crun has the inside line. Will he dive down there? He's got to try and make the move work. And now Amazing Hour moves into the lead of the Grand Prix. What a move there from the Williams driver, but P-Crun cannot afford to let Amazing Hour win this Grand Prix. Not help his championship hopes at all. Amazing Hour, you can see the gap he's already pulling. He's so much deeper there was that P-Crun. He's got to make a move into turn 1 if he wants to stay ahead. It's his best opportunity, as it is the widest part of the track. There's yellow flag in sector 2, but I don't really want to swap back to that at the moment. Swaggy now in P3. I'm not too sure if he'll be able to make a move. P-Crun has got to be super deep under brakes if he wants to make a move. He's had to sit behind Amazing Hour for a bit longer. He's going to wait for DRS down the back straight, but he's got to try and keep close enough to get DRS. Amazing Hour's pulling away. As you can see, this is not what P-Crun needs. P-Crun needs to get a little bit close to F1 Amazing Hour, and he needs to get a nice run out of these few corners here so he can get a run down the back straight and potentially try and make a move on the Williams driver. This is to keep his championship hopes alive. Well, they will be alive still, but it will be a lot harder for him. There's currently 11 points separating them, but it will make it a little bit more, unfortunately, a little bit harder for P-Crun. But F1 Amazing, I completely forgot as well, F1 Amazing Hour does also have that time penalty, so at the moment he is really pushing at this stage. Swaggy also is falling off a little bit, so P-Crun has now just got to stay within 6 seconds of F1 Amazing Hour, and he should be able to win this Grand Prix. He's catching up to well. Tonki's AI car. I completely forgot about the time penalties. Apologise for that. But now F1 Amazing Hour, as you can see, he's got 1.3 second lead at the moment. So Pete's just got to try and keep it under that 6 seconds. I don't believe Pete has a time penalty. I wish, Chris. But anyway, around the final corner, our race leader goes F1 Amazing Hour. He's going to come through the final corner and he's going to win on track for the US Grand Prix. But P-Crun is going to take the win in the end after time penalties. Congratulations to the Mercedes driver for taking the win. So now that championship battle goes down to 5 points, heading into the Brazilian Grand Prix between F1 Amazing Hour and P-Crun. Swaggy's going to come home P3 for Alfa Romeo. Solid result there from the Alfa Romeo team. J Banks is ready out the final corner now. Stuart McKenzie was unfortunately not able to get a move done on J Banks. He was sitting behind him the whole race. But J Banks is going to come home P4. No, it's actually going to be Toddy that comes home P4. That is going to be the other Renault on Plebs in P5. So a very nice result there from the Renault F1 team. Just managed to minimise the amount of penalties they got, and they ended up coming on P4 in the end. Congratulations to Renault. Solid result from them. Our contrast will come home P6, leading Spilly in P7, J Banks in P8, P9 will be Storm McKenzie, and rounding out your top 10 will be Crossy F1. Harry Tomato will come through the final corner now to round out your top 11. Then it will be Dr. Dre in P12. But that has been your AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania United States Grand Prix. I think if my maths are correct, it will be 5 points between F1 Amazing Hour and P-Crun. This is definitely going to be a race to tune into next week at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Stay tuned as well. It will be next Sunday at 7 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, 8 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time. But as we read out before, P-Crun took home the win for the Mercedes-AMG Petronas team, leading the Rocket Williams team of F1 Amazing Hour. Then it will be Swaggy in the Alfa Romeo will round out your podium. Then it will be the two Renaults with a stellar result from them two, from the French. They'll come home P4 and P5, leading Eye Contrast for Ferrari in P6. P7 will be Spilly, leading J Banks in P8. P9 will be Storm McKenzie. Rounding out your top 10, taking home one single point, will be Crossy F1. And I do believe the fastest lap of the Grand Prix went to Swaggy as well. So F1 Amazing Hour and Pete will not get that extra point Harry Tomato will come home P11 ahead of Dr. Dre 3012. 13th will be X Revolution leading El Tonki in P14. And unfortunately, our only retirement from the session will be Darren Levin. But that has been your Race Spec F1 is... Oh, not... sorry. AOR Hype Energy PS4 Oceania. United States Grand Prix. Sorry about that. I wasn't thinking what I was saying. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Expert, and I will see you guys next week as well for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Do make sure you are tuned in for that, because it will be a massively tight battle between those two championship leaders of P Crime and F1 Amazing Hour. Sorry, I'm just trying to put the results in. Onto the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.